Hi friends. Oh, can't hear myself. Today I'm going to talk to you about a podcast called the Telepathy Tapes. Okay, I'll tell you what it's all about. I came across it when I was listening to a spooky podcast called Two Girls and a Ghost. And they were promoting the podcast and I realized, this is really interesting. So I listened to about 3.5 episodes of it already. Alright, I'm going to go to the beginning. One sec. Alright, this is the first episode. Okay, so this is what the first episode is called. It's called, in the premiere episode of the Telepathy Tapes, host Key Dickens, I think the spelling is KY, so I'm not sure. I've heard the name many times. I don't know if it's because of my hearing or what. Anyway, Kai Dickens or Key Dickens, we're going to go with it, embarks on a mind-bending journey into the mysterious world of telepathy in non-speaking individuals with autism. Is my mic too far away? Bring it closer. Okay. Where did I get to? Through personal stories and expert interviews, Dickens uncovers a phenomenon she never thought possible, a hidden form of communication that defies mainstream science. Through a mix of personal anecdotes, scientific exploration, and interviews with experts like Dr. Diane Hennessy Powell, a Johns Hopkins trained neuropsychiatrist, Dickens unpacks the mysterious connection between parents and their children who seemingly can read minds. The episode takes listeners on a journey across the globe, meeting families who have experienced this phenomenon firsthand, and challenges the skeptic in all of us. Dickens brings listeners into a world where telepathy may not just be possible, but commonplace. She opens up that mainstream science has largely ignored, inviting listeners to reconsider everything they thought they knew about communication and consciousness. So that's what it's about. And I want to play you something. The first episode is called Unveiling the Hidden World of Telepathic Communication in a Silenced Community. One second. Just going to go back to the main podcast. Okay. I'm going to play you the trailer. I'm just going to put the volume up on my phone. Hopefully they don't get mad at me for doing that.
My son said to me, I can hear thoughts. And I said, bullshit. Telepathy is the tip of the iceberg with their spiritual gifts.
People don't understand that they can do this. They don't even have to be in the same room, the same zip code.
Welcome to the Telepathy Tapes, where we venture into claims of widespread telepathy via a group who is systematically dismissed, non-speakers who often have autism.
Joining us today to shed some light, Dr. Diane Powell.
I'm working with children who have been reported by a parent to be able to read their mind.
The data was so compelling and accurate that I had to follow it.
even though I knew I was risking my scientific reputation.
For decades, a very specific group of people have been claiming telepathy is happening in their homes and in their classrooms. And nobody has believed them. Nobody has listened to them. But on this podcast, we do.
That's what it's about. I just find it so fascinating. And this is what it looks like. Where are you? Is this too bright? Hold on. Reflection doesn't help. Maybe further away. Okay, hold on. How about this? Is it better this way? I hope you can see it. It looks like a cassette, and it's really colourful. One second. Let me just. I'll leave a link to the podcast in the description box. Yeah, I found this. I just found it so interesting. And it reminds me of a book. I think it's by Dean Koontz. About this girl who's in a coma, but she moves and she communicates in her mind, trying to survive the world that she's in. Can't remember the name of the book. It's so good. Anyway, back to the podcast. So I got to almost halfway through the 4th episode, and this podcast was first published on the 9th of September 2024. I think I saw on their website that there's a trailer for a film. Fascinating. This is the website. Sorry, you can't see it. I'll leave a link in the description box. So you can listen to this podcast on Spotify, on Audible, apparently on TikTok, all these places, and YouTube, Facebook, iHeartRadio. I thought it was on Apple as well, but maybe I was wrong. I'm just gonna go here. Film trailer. I wonder if it already came out. That's really fascinating. I'll have a search on YouTube and other places to see if it came out.
My son said to me, I can hear thoughts. And I said, impossible. And he said to me, you don't get the kind of gifts that I have if you lie.
Let's please multiply two numbers and see
there
if
we
he gets
go.
it.
Okay, what is it?
9, 0, 0.
Unbelievable.
So they use that board just to spell out letters to be able to communicate because they're nonverbal. And that's how these parents found out that their children are grown-up children who have nonverbal autism are able to communicate their minds or read their minds or some version of that. So
I knew that a lot of people would think, boy, Diane's gone off the deep end. But
That's the risk any scientist takes when they challenge the current paradigm.
Joining us today to shed some light, Dr. Diane Powell.
I'm working with children who have been reported by a parent to be able to read their mind.
The data was so compelling and accurate that I had to follow it, even though I knew I was risking my scientific reputation.
I started testing them, and I found that they were exceedingly accurate.
Wow.
just realized that you can't hear it because I've got the headphones on. Sorry about that. Oh, did you? I don't know. You probably didn't. Anyway, I'll leave the link in the description box, and then you can watch the trailer. And there's one mum who her son is a non-verbal or non-speaking person with autism, and he communicated that somehow that he knew all about the Harry Potter books, but he's never read the books. But you know who read the books? His sister read all of the books, and somehow through her, he knew what they were all about. And through listening to these episodes, it's like there's like this link, this place that these kids are, older kids, either in their mind or an energetic field of some sort where they come together and can share information or talk to each other in that sense without physically talking to each other, which I find so interesting and so fascinating. There's so much about our world that we don't know about. There's so much about, and thinking about the physics of this world, it seems a bit limited from what we know so far. And even though we know so much, there's so much more to know. There's so much more to find out about, because everything's made of energy, and we're all connected, whether we like it or not. I hope you've enjoyed my little talk about this podcast. If you find these things quite fascinating, I hope you look up this podcast and give it a go. I think you'll really get something out of it. Will I talk about this podcast again? Maybe, if I find something quite fascinating as I continue to listen to it. I believe I got to the point in the 4th episode when one of the kids is being tested by a let me check the episode, the notes for the episode so I don't get it wrong. Some of the parents or some of the mothers are more protective of their kids, and some are less likely. Not that they don't believe them, it just seems a lot harder for them to believe them, because either A, they've been through such a hard time in life that dealing with a kid that needs more time and energy to look after, and then on top of that, having suspicion that their kid is reading their mind is or can be an overwhelming thought. And sometimes you'll come across a dad or someone who's part of the podcast that's really skeptical of the fact that they're telepathic or reading their minds. Or even if it's something that happens and all of a sudden like the kid knows exactly what the other person's thinking or feeling and the evidence is there, maybe the evidence is just too overwhelming. I don't know. Can't force someone to see the truth in front of them if they don't want to. Anyway, that's what I want to talk to you today. Where did I get to? Oh yeah, the episode 4 is called Teen Love with a Twist of Telepathy. So this episode is about John Paul, a 16-year-old with autism, and he shares a deep telepathic connection with his friend Houston and his girlfriend Lily. Then they go into this relationship. John Paul and Lily, they have this special relationship, and they communicate telepathically. They have really sweet love story between them. Oh yeah. Also during the episode they talk about and use the word savant. In this episode specifically, actually they brought it up in the first episode as well, maybe the second as well. So it says here the episode introduces the concept of savant skills, extraordinary abilities that defy conventional explanation. Savants have exceptional skills in music, language, math, and art without any formal training or exposure to this skill. Neuroscientist Dr. Diane Hennessy Powell believes that just as traditional savant skills are accepted despite their mysterious nature, ESP should be acknowledged as a savant skill and studied as a legitimate phenomenon. Yeah, basically. Anyway, I'm gonna leave you here. I hope you have a great evening. And if you want to continue this talk or any other talk with me, meet me in the kitchen. We're gonna have soup. Bye.